Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive.
Mm.
This time, we're diving into natural language processing.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, this new architecture that's been making some big waves, Transformer XL.
It's very cool.
I've been looking over all the research you sent me on it, and
Great.
I have to say I'm pretty excited to get into it with you.
Yeah.
So, at a very high level,
Sure.
language modeling, this field,
Yeah.
it's basically all about teaching computers how to understand and generate
Mm-hmm.
human language,
That's
right?
right. Correct.
Yeah. But as I'm sure you know,
Oh, yeah.
it's way trickier than it sounds.
It is.
That's
Way
too
trickier.
light.
One of the biggest challenges is
Yeah.
capturing those long-term dependencies in language.
Mm.
It's kind of like if you were reading a mystery novel
Okay.
and you could only remember the last few sentences,
Oh, wow.
you'd miss all those crucial clues that were sprinkled in like earlier.
Totally. You
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to follow the plot at all.
Exactly.
Couldn't figure out who done it.
Right.
And that's kind of what those traditional language models, like the RNNs and the LSTMs,
Yeah.
they struggle with this, right?
That's right.
They just have a limited memory.
Yeah.
So they lose track of those connections between words
Yeah.
that are far apart.
And even those powerful vanilla transformers,
Mhm.
those still have this fixed length context. They can only remember information up to a certain point, and
Yeah.
then they kind of hit a wall.
Okay, so that's the big problem we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
Fixed length context.
Yes.
So can you give me like a real world example
Yeah.
of how that limits these language models?
Imagine you're trying to translate like a very complex legal document.
Yeah.
The meaning of a sentence
Yeah.
might depend on a clause that appeared like pages earlier.
Wow.
If the model can't see that far back, it's
Yeah.
going to miss these like really crucial nuances.
Oh, I see.
And it could even mistranslate these really key parts.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's like if you're trying to assemble a puzzle, but you can only look at a few pieces at a time,
Yeah.
you might be able to put together these little sections, but you never see the whole picture.
Never see the full picture.
Right, exactly.
And that's what we call context fragmentation.
Okay.
The model is forced to break the text up
Yeah.
into these like isolated chunks,
Wow.
and it's not considering the connections between them,
Right.
and that leads to a loss of information
I see.
and ultimately inaccurate predictions.
So where does Transformer XL come in?
Well,
How does it address this context fragmentation problem?
it's really ingenious how it borrows this concept from those
Okay.
older RNN models
Yeah.
called recurrence, but instead of applying it at the word level,
Right.
it uses it at the segment level.
Interesting. So break that down for me.
Sure.
What does segment level recurrence
Okay.
actually mean?
Think of it this way. As Transformer XL is reading through the text, it creates these hidden states for each segment.
Okay.
These states are kind of like summaries
Oh, wait.
of what it's learned so far,
Okay.
capturing the meaning and the relationships between the words
Got it.
in that segment.
So it's kind of like if you're reading and you're taking notes.
Yes,
You're summarizing each chapter.
exactly.
So you can remember the key points.
That's right.
Okay. And here's the really clever part.
Yeah.
When it moves on to the next segment,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't just forget those previous notes.
Okay.
It brings them along
Wow.
and incorporates them into its understanding of the new segment.
So it's like it's constantly building upon what it already knows.
Yes.
And it's expanding its context window with every new segment.
That's exactly right.
It processes.
And that's what allows it to remember information from much further back,
Okay.
which lets it capture those crucial long-range dependencies
Yeah.
that traditional models would just miss.
That sounds like a huge advantage.
Yeah, it is. But I'm still a little fuzzy on how this recurrence actually works in practice.
Okay, well, think of it as a more efficient way of processing information.
Okay.
Instead of starting from scratch with each new segment,
Uh-huh.
Transformer XL can actually build upon
Yeah.
what it's already learned.
So it's like having a running start in a race.
Exactly.
So it's not just about the accuracy then.
Right.
It's also about speed.
Yeah, it is. And we're not talking about small improvements.
Okay.
In some benchmarks, Transformer XL is over 1,800 times faster
Right.
than vanilla transformers.
That's incredible
Yeah.
during evaluation.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's a significant speed boost.
Huge speed boost.
But wait, if it's remembering all of these previous segments,
Yeah.
doesn't that create another problem?
What's that?
Like, how does it keep track of the order of the words
Well, that's a great question.
within and across those segments?
Yeah.
It seems like it could get all jumbled up.
That's a very sharp observation. And that brings us to another key innovation of Transformer XL,
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Relative positional encodings.
Relative positional encodings. Okay, tell me more
Okay.
about these and how they solve that ordering problem.
In the standard transformer,
Yeah.
words are assigned a fixed position,
Okay.
like word number 1, word number 2, and so on.
Right.
This works fine within a single segment.
Yeah.
But when you start bringing in information
Yeah.
from those previous segments,
Uh-huh.
those absolute positions
Yeah.
become kind of meaningless.
Right, because word number 1 in one segment
Yeah.
might refer to a totally different concept than word number 1 in a previous segment.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
instead of using these absolute positions,
Yeah.
Transformer XL uses relative positions.
Okay.
It's basically encoding the distance between the words
Got it.
rather than their specific location in the sequence.
Okay, so instead of saying like, this word is on page 5,
Right.
it's more like saying, this word is 3 sentences away from that word.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
That's a great way to put it.
Cool.
And this is a simple change, but it's very powerful.
Yeah.
It allows Transformer XL to maintain that clear sense of order even when it's processing all this information from multiple segments.
I mean, this is all incredibly clever, but I have to ask,
Yeah.
what does this all mean for me,
Right.
the listener? Like,
That's what we're here for.
why should I care about all this?
Yeah.
But Transformer XL and its ability to capture these long-range dependencies.
Because it has the potential to completely revolutionize
Okay.
how we interact with language.
Okay, like how?
Imagine machine translation.
Mm-hmm.
That can actually capture the nuances of idioms
Okay.
and complex sentence structures.
Wow.
Or think about text summarization tools
Yeah.
that can extract the key points from a very dense research paper
Okay.
in seconds.
So it's not just about improving these benchmarks then.
Right.
It's about real-world applications that could make our lives easier,
That's right.
more efficient.
Yes. And it goes beyond that.
Okay.
Transformer XL can also generate this incredibly coherent
Oh, wow.
and creative text.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's opening up all these new possibilities for storytelling,
Wow.
poetry, and even script writing.
Yeah. This is all incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've just scratched the surface here
I think so too.
of what Transformer XL can do.
Yeah.
So in the next part of our deep dive,
Great.
let's explore those real-world applications in more detail
Love it.
and see how this architecture is already making waves
Yeah.
in different fields.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to our deep dive on Transformer XL.
Yeah, good to be back.
So last time we kind of laid the groundwork talking about, those long-range dependencies in language
Right, right.
and how this new architecture tackles those
Mm-hmm.
with those segment-level recurrences
Yeah,
and those relative positional encodings.
those are key.
Now I'm ready to get a little deeper under the hood
Okay, yeah.
with this thing
Sure.
and really try to understand how it all works together.
It's like we've admired the car from the outside.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
now we get to pop open the hood and see what makes it go.
I like that. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So Transformer XL, it builds on the original Transformer model, right?
That's right.
So what are some of the key differences here?
Well, one of the biggest is
Yeah.
how it handles context.
Okay.
Remember those manila transformers?
Uh-huh.
They have a fixed length context.
Right.
It's kind of like a short-term memory limit.
Yeah.
They can only process so much text at once before they start forgetting what came earlier.
Right. And as we talked about last time, that can be a real problem
Oh, yeah.
when you're dealing with these long and complex texts
Especially, yeah.
where the meaning of a sentence might depend on something that appeared pages ago.
Exactly. That's a big one.
So how does Transformer XL address that?
Well, it addresses that limitation with segment-level recurrence.
Oh, okay.
Instead of treating each segment of text in isolation, it actually remembers and reuses information from previous segments.
So it's kind of like it's taking notes as it reads.
That's a great analogy.
And then referring back to those notes to
Yeah.
help it understand the current section.
That's right. Those notes are actually called hidden states.
Okay.
And they capture the model's understanding of
Yeah.
the text that it's seen so far.
Okay.
So by reusing these hidden states
Yeah.
from those previous segments,
Right.
Transformer XL can access a much wider context,
Oh, yeah.
kind of like expanding its field of vision.
So it's not just looking at a few words or sentences at a time.
Right.
It can see that bigger picture
Exactly.
and understand how everything fits together.
Precisely.
Gotcha.
And that's so crucial for capturing those long-range dependencies
Yeah.
that traditional models just really struggle with.
Okay, so give me an example.
Okay, so think about it this way. Imagine you're reading a novel
Okay.
and you come across a pronoun like he or she.
Right.
To understand who that pronoun refers to, you might have to go back several paragraphs
Yeah.
or even chapters to find that original mention.
And if you could only remember the last few sentences,
Exactly.
you would be totally lost.
You'd be completely lost.
Right.
And that's where Transformer XL really shines.
Okay.
That ability to access and remember that information from those previous segments. It allows it to resolve those long-range references.
Gotcha.
And accurately understand the meaning of the text.
Okay.
Even when those connections are kind of subtle or spread out over these long distances.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So this is starting to make sense to me now.
Good.
But how does it know, like, those hidden states obviously hold a ton of information.
A lot of information.
How does it know which parts of those hidden states are relevant to the current segment?
That's where the attention mechanism comes in.
Okay.
It's kind of like a spotlight.
Oh, okay.
It focuses on the most important parts of the information.
Okay.
Helping the model prioritize what to pay attention to.
So it's not just blindly copying information from previous segments.
It's selectively choosing what's relevant.
So it knows what to pay attention to.
Yes, right.
And what to ignore, basically.
Exactly. And that attention mechanism is further enhanced
Okay.
by those relative positional encodings we talked about.
They help the model keep track of the order of words.
Exactly.
Even when it's processing information from multiple segments.
That's right, because remember...
Like word number 1 in one segment could be totally different from word number 1.
Exactly.
In another segment.
Exactly.
Okay.
So those relative positions help keep everything straight.
Gotcha. So by combining those relative positional encodings with the attention mechanism, Transformer XL can selectively attend to the most relevant information from those previous segments. While also maintaining a clear understanding of the order and the relationships between those words.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, this is making a lot more sense now.
Good, I'm glad.
So it's like all these well-oiled parts working together.
It is.
Seamlessly.
It really is.
To create this deeper, more nuanced understanding of language.
And the beauty of this architecture is that it's not just about understanding existing text.
Okay.
It can be used to generate new text.
Oh, wow.
That's incredibly coherent and creative.
See, now that's what I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
We touched on this briefly last time, but let's dive a little deeper into those text generation capabilities.
Sure.
What makes Transformer XL so good at creating new text?
Well, it all comes down to that ability to capture those long-range dependencies.
Okay. Think about how we write as humans.
Yeah.
We often make references to things that happen earlier in the story.
Right.
We build up to a climax over several paragraphs or even chapters.
And that's something that traditional language models have struggled with.
That's right. They kind of get lost in the detail.
Yeah.
They lose track of the bigger picture.
Exactly.
But Transformer XL, with its expanded context window, and that ability to remember and reuse information from previous segments, is able to generate text that exhibits that same kind of long-range coherence.
Wow, so it can build suspense.
It can.
Introduce plot twists.
It can.
Even develop characters.
Yeah.
Over long stretches of text.
Over extended stretches of text.
So it's not just about generating grammatically correct sentences.
Right.
It's about creating these stories that are engaging and captivating.
Yes.
And that really feel like they were written by a human. Wow.
And we're already seeing some really impressive examples of this.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, researchers have used Transformer XL to generate all sorts of things.
Okay.
Everything from news articles and poems to even screenplays and short stories.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And the quality of this generated text is just getting better all the time.
It sounds like we're almost at the point where AI can assist writers in ways we never thought possible.
I think we're on the verge of a new era of storytelling where AI can do just that.
But are there any limitations to these text generation capabilities?
There are.
Like, can it really generate anything?
It's important to remember that even the most advanced AI models are still limited by the data they're trained on.
Oh, okay, I see.
So if the model hasn't seen certain types of stories or writing styles, it's going to have a much harder time generating those types of texts.
So it's not like it has this access to
Right.
all human knowledge,
and can just conjure up
It's not magic.
any story we can think of.
It's more like a very talented apprentice who's learned from the masters.
Yeah.
But it still needs guidance and inspiration
Right.
from those human writers
Right.
to create something that's truly original and groundbreaking.
So it's not about AI replacing human writers.
Right.
It's more about AI empowering writers.
Exactly.
Kind of explore those new creative possibilities and push the boundaries of storytelling.
And that's what's so exciting about this field.
Yeah.
We're seeing this merging of human creativity and AI leading to these new forms of expression.
That's cool.
And potentially even new genres of literature.
I like that.
Yeah.
This is all very fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
But I'm also curious about the practical implications here.
Okay, sure.
We've talked about machine translation, creative writing.
Yep.
But what about other areas?
There are a lot.
How is this being used in the real world today?
In so many ways.
We're back for the final part of our deep dive on Transformer XL.
It's been a great deep dive so far.
So up to this point, we've been exploring those inner workings of this thing. We've really delved into its applications. And even glimpsed its potential to reshape industries, improve lives.
It's exciting stuff.
But now I'm ready to see this technology in action.
Sure.
What kind of real-world impact
Okay.
is Transformer XL having today?
Well, we've already touched on its potential for machine translation and even creative writing, but those are really just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay.
Transformer XL is making waves in a whole host of applications.
Oh, wow. Like what?
From chatbots and virtual assistants to sentiment analysis and even medical diagnosis.
Okay, so that's a pretty wide range.
It is.
Let's start with something I think everyone can relate to.
Sure.
Chatbots. How is Transformer XL changing the game there?
Well, you know those frustrating experiences we've all had with chatbots?
Oh, yeah.
That just never seem to understand what we're saying.
Totally, like you're talking to a wall.
Exactly.
Not a helpful assistant.
They get stuck on keywords.
Yeah.
They give irrelevant responses, or they just repeat the same canned phrases over and over.
It's so frustrating.
And that's often because those chatbots are based on older language models that can't handle these complex conversations.
Right.
Or remember what you said earlier in the chat.
So Transformer XL, with its ability to capture those long-range dependencies, can make these chatbots more conversational and actually helpful.
That's the idea.
Okay.
Imagine a chatbot that can remember your preferences, follow the thread of a conversation, and even anticipate your needs.
Wow.
Based on what you've said in the past.
That would be a game changer.
It would.
No more repeating yourself.
Right.
Or getting stuck in those endless loops of irrelevant responses.
And this improved understanding can also be applied to those virtual assistants.
Okay.
Making them more adept at handling complex tasks.
Right.
Providing more personalized recommendations.
So that's chatbots and virtual assistants.
Right.
What about sentiment analysis?
Okay, so sentiment analysis.
How does Transformer XL improve our ability to understand people's emotions and opinions from text?
It's all about gauging the emotional tone behind a piece of text.
Okay.
Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it neutral? Is the writer happy, angry, sarcastic?
These nuances can be tricky.
They are very tricky.
For those traditional language models.
Especially when the sentiment is expressed indirectly.
Right, like sarcasm.
Exactly.
It really relies on understanding the context.
Yes.
The writer's intentions.
And that can be hard to grasp.
If you're only looking at a few words at a time.
Exactly.
So Transformer XL, with its wider field of vision and its ability to connect those dots across those longer stretches of text.
It can do a much better job.
Can be more accurate.
And much more accurate.
At picking up on those subtle cues and classifying that sentiment.
And that has a huge impact on so many things.
Okay, like what?
From social media monitoring to market research, customer service.
Wow.
Even political analysis.
So we've covered a lot of applications here.
We have.
But you mentioned something earlier that really piqued my interest.
What's that?
Medical diagnosis.
Oh, right.
How is Transformer XL being used in healthcare today?
Well, one promising area is in the analysis of medical records and research papers.
These documents can be really dense and complex.
They are. They're filled with jargon.
Yeah.
Intricate descriptions of symptoms, treatments, outcomes.
Right. It takes years of training for doctors to learn how to interpret
It does.
all that information.
And even then, it can be challenging. to keep up with the latest research,
Oh, no.
identify the connections between different pieces of information.
So how can Transformer XL help with all of this?
Well, it's not about replacing doctors.
Right.
It's about augmenting their expertise.
Okay.
It can be trained to sift through these massive amounts of data, identify patterns and connections, insights that might be missed.
So it's almost like a research assistant.
That's a great way to put it.
That can help doctors stay up to date on the latest findings and make better decisions.
More informed decisions.
That's really cool.
It can also be used to analyze patient records.
Oh, wow.
Identify potential risk factors. Even suggest treatment plans.
Wow. Based on the latest research and best practices.
Exactly.
That's incredible. It sounds like it really has the potential
It does.
to revolutionize healthcare.
It really does.
And improve patient outcomes.
But it's important to remember that it's still early days.
Right.
More research is needed to make sure these applications are safe.
Of course.
Effective. Equitable for all patients.
That's a very important point.
It is.
It's exciting to see the potential benefits. But we need to be mindful of those ethical implications and make sure that it's being used responsibly.
Absolutely. With any powerful tool, it's important to consider the risks and benefits and develop guidelines for ethical and responsible use.
Well, this has been an incredible journey.
It has.
We've explored the inner workings, delved into these diverse applications.
It's been a lot of fun.
And glimpsed its potential to change the way we live, work, and interact with language.
I completely agree.
This has been a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
I think it really highlights the incredible progress that's being made in this field of AI.
It really does.
And its potential to positively impact our world. So thanks for joining us on this deep dive, listeners.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
We hope you've gained a deeper understanding of this groundbreaking technology and its potential to change the way we live, work, and interact with language.
It's been fun.
And remember,
what's that?
This world of AI is constantly evolving.
It is.
So stay curious, keep exploring, and who knows what amazing discoveries await.
That's right.
Just around the corner.
Around the corner, exactly.